Just a minute. Tareq Laila, how are you?
I'm fine.
Okay, I'm fortunate. At last, you have joined my program.
Okay, hello, how are you?
Fine, thanks. It's so nice to see you back.
Nasir sir, how are you?
I am okay. I am okay. I am well.
Good morning,
Thank you.
Nasir.
Thank you, Patricia Arbona.
Nice to
Thank
see
you,
you.
those who are connected in the meantime. Thank you, Roxana Momtaz, for inviting me. You know that our Upazila secondary education officer um, uh, call a virtual meeting, but I attend there. But I leave that meeting, then I join your meeting. Okay, thank you. Continue.
Today our new guest, Tareq Laila from Morocco.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you, thank you.
Yes.
And we founder
Yeah,
Priyanka
welcome.
and Srivastava from India.
Nice to meet you all. How are you, Poland?
Fine.
Oh,
Poland, do you know Tareq Laila?
Yes, I know.
from last time we discussed. Okay, I like him a lot. He is discussing very well, and he speaks his mind excellently.
Yes, he can speak English very well. He's
Yeah,
so
yeah,
young.
I know.
He has a good command of the language, and that's great.
Yes, and I
Is
remember
that
him.
what happens with students in Bangladesh, Matmas? That good command at that age, really, it doesn't happen in Argentina at all.
I called her Little Champs, our Little Champs, Poland. I called her our Little Champs, Poland. I will wait just 2 minutes for our new guest. Shagorika, how are you?
Margarita.
Yes, how are you all? Good to see you all.
Yes.
Hello,
good to see you,
Margarita.
Red.
How are you?
Hello.
Fine.
Happy to see you all.
Yes, happy to see you all. Happy Ramadan to you all. This beginning
Happy
of the
Ramadan.
festival.
Happy Ramadan.
Nice to see you, Patricia.
Nice to see you, Shagarita.
Happy Ramadan to you all. For some countries, maybe they fast today.
Yes.
And other countries, it's till tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
For you in Bangladesh tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, same here.
And you? And your country?
Yes. No, till tomorrow.
Okay.
You haven't seen the moon yet.
Priyanka, hello Priyanka.
We are all on different time zones.
Okay. I
And
have-
Shailash, where is she from?
Sailesh,
Yes, Shailash,
Just
where is
one
she
minute,
from? Do
I
you
will
know?
check.
Yes, yes.
Patricia, Shagori.
where are you from?
I'm from India.
Ah,
India?
I'm
Hi.
from India,
Shailesh is
Maharashtra.
Maharashtra, India.
Where in
Shailesh,
Maharashtra?
Hi.
hi.
Sai
Where
Kailam.
in Maharashtra, Sailesh?
Yes, I'm from Maharashtra. Jalgaon.
Oh, Jalgaon. Oh. मराठी बोलता तुम्ही?
हो मराठी बोलतो. आमच्याकडे डिपार्टमेंटला seniors worrying about the evaluation and all these things. Learning loss, they are talking more about learning loss and all these things.
Yes, yes.
And I had made one poem on that.
Mhm. Okay.
Why should we are just worrying about learning loss and evaluation, that exam should be there. We have to conduct the exam. But instead of learning loss, we have to take care of oxygen loss. And instead of evaluation, we have to care about saturation, the blood saturation, oxygen.
Okay.
So most of the time in the schools, in the office or here, particularly in my district, they are worried about more about that thing. But I think in these pandemic situation, we have to take care of life first, then the education. Because the saying is there that Jaan hai to Jahan hai. We can't reach into the villages right now. The situation is so worst in the pandemic, and there are some officers they doesn't know. I think they were in coma since last 2 years, as the way some of the people behaving, and we need to tell them that what is going around. So health is very important. Of course, education is important, but health is very important. How can we say to those people who are worrying about evaluation? We have to evaluate the students. Why should we just pass them? No, I don't understand what to do then.
Okay, now we can
What is-
start.
Yeah.
Can you hear to me clearly?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Ramadan is the month of the biggest religious restraint of the Muslim country and community starting today. I'm starting by wishing everyone a happy Ramadan. As always, weekly roundtable sessions are being organized by We Bangladesh chapter. Today is April 13, 2021. Many thanks to invited guests from home and abroad for their participation. Hope everybody is well and I'm fine. Good morning, good noon, good evening, and to everyone. Hope that well, everyone. The topic of today's discussion is I and Patricia both selected under achieving students. This is the 7th episode of our roundtable session. I think today's topic is timely. I hope everyone agrees with me. Now we should start. Hello, Priyanka, are you there? Hello, Priyanka. I expect your attention. Hello, Priyanka.
She can't hear you.
Hello, Priyanka.
You
Okay.
can go ahead with others. I think she's not there around.
No, yeah.
In our program, we have some speakers, some visitors, and at the end of the discussions, our audience can ask questions to the negotiators if they wish. I have raised some questions on today's topic to see how much our negotiator can enrich us in their knowledge. Proud discussions. Okay, Priyanka, can you hear me?
Hello.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
I can hear you.
Nice to see you.
Okay, first of all, welcome to our session.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for organizing such a wonderful session.
Thank you. Today we have Priyanka
Hope-
Srivastava, the founder of World Educator and Country Head India chapter from India. I would request Priyanka to say something about World Educator. Finally, our weekly roundtable sessions. Please get start. Priyanka.
Hello.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, Mamtaj ma'am, please repeat the last sentence. Couldn't hear you. Please repeat your last sentence.
Just about you say something about World Educator Bangladesh or India.
Okay, okay,
And our weekly
okay.
roundtable session. Our weekly roundtable session, please.
Okay. So about word educators, I think most of the people here who have joined here already know about word educators. What is we, the word educators? Actually, that is our initiative to bring all the educators from around the globe together at the same platform to collaborate, to discuss, and to see each other, to help each other in every moment of teaching and learning as well. Shamsuddin ji, okay. So, if you are not a part of the Word Educators Facebook group, so if not, so please join either Word Educators Bangladesh chapter or the simple the Word Educators main group, so that you will receive different notifications about our events, our sessions, our workshops, and each and every collaborative projects. This is just few words about what is we, but our vision is so large, and it is not possible. Actually, it is impossible without support of you people. So I need you to join hands and work together. Okay, we have different type of workshops. For that, we need mentors. We have different type of discussions. For this, we need educators, experts. Yeah. So, anybody want to ask something? Someone spoke?
No, you can continue.
Go ahead.
Carry on, carry on.
Okay. So I will not take much time. Just go to the page and read all about that thing. And if you have any questions, any queries, any doubts, just ask Mamtaj ma'am, me directly. You can contact us through email IDs, through phone numbers, and through group as well. Just put a comment. We will contact you directly. So clear your doubts. Okay. Hope we can work together for a brighter future for teachers and students as well. You know, pandemic has hit the big big thing. So without wasting time, I think it is about 1.5 hour session. So please, Mamtaj ma'am, you can start now.
Okay, Priyanka.
I will take one induction session for only we, about we. That is, the topic will be about we, and I will need your suggestions and comments there. And information will be shared soon. Okay, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
welcome you all.
Thank you, Priyanka, for telling us the details about we and expressing satisfactions with this program. You are with us, and hopefully I will come back to you later with questions on this topic. In our program, we have some speakers and visitors. At the end of the discussions, our audience can speak questions, can ask questions and negotiator if they wish. if I have to speak in the language of the book, I will say the definition of underachieving for under achievements or achieving students. Four are then expected performance. In order to work in expect students to accomplish good work in your classroom. As the student has all the capabilities, in rarely that student can't live up to its own competence and fails to deliver high quality work. Now we will hear what our guests have to say about today's topic yet. I have some questions for our guest on this topic. We have a lot to know. We will try to find out from discussions of our guest. At this stage, I would like to Patricia, please.
Okay.
First of
Good
all,
afternoon for you.
First of all, introduce yourself and please, I have the questions to you. How do you deal with underachieving students?
Okay. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I know that there it is the afternoon. For me, it is the morning. I'm very pleased to be with you all, as usual. It's great to share our experience together. Well, everybody knows about me. I'm a teacher and a trainer and investigator, and I deliver speeches around the world. So the idea is to strengthen bonds with speakers around the world and learn together. Well, today the topic is underachieving students. What is an underachiever, first of all? It is a student who is not able to connect his potential with his performance. Every student is unique, you know, and each of them has weaknesses and strengths, but it is our responsibility to unleash that potential. And when we immediately detect students who are having some type of problems as regards learning, we need to pay close attention. Another way of defining underachievement is when the students are not able to perform as we expect them to do. So there are different reasons. For example, first of all, you know that primary students get bored, but secondary students get bored and they think that all the subjects at school are irrelevant. That's why they are interested in activities which are completely different from the ones that are offered at school. For example, football or other sports, music, painting, etc. In this way, then they are not able to develop skills that are necessary for the process of learning, and especially study habits. They haven't got a growth mindset. On the contrary, it is they have got a fixed mindset, so they think that they are not smart, so they won't be able to achieve learning aims, however hard they try. In this way, they do not leave their comfort zone because they do not take risks. So, and in this way, they feel frustrated, they feel anxiety, and they are not comfortable in the group they belong to. So, another important problem is that they sometimes feel that they may be rejected by their own peers. And something even worse, they may feel that they haven't got parent support. So, it is a very difficult situation. So, we need to be very careful and we need to know every student we have in class. Now, when a teacher is a good observer, he's able to detect what is happening in the classroom. For example, normally underachievement is related to behavior, and behavior can be modified, but sometimes it may be a learning problem or a disability. So for this reason, we need to pay close attention, and we need to know about every single student in class. For example, there must be a strong support from their families. We need to work together. Remember that family and school are closely connected. So parents need to know the type of school their students, their children are attending to. And also we as teachers, need to know their families, the social life they have, and what they do in their spare time. Why? Because the type of life they live will be reflected at school. So I think that it is interesting to get to know your own experience with this type of underachievers, which are usually present. Once I had experience, it was a special student who was not interested in my classes at all. And normally they are, because they get engaged immediately because they play. So something was wrong with him. And he was not open enough to tell me what his problem was. So I had a parent conference. Their parents were not present. His grandmother came, and well, his family was a mess. So what he needed, I discovered that what he needed was love. So when I started paying attention to what he was doing every single day, and gradually he started talking to me. So he realized that he was a capable student, and I immediately started giving what he needed, caring. I told him that I cared about him and about what he was doing, and he gradually changed immediately. So I think that we need to be good observers in order to reverse this situation, so as to make them feel that we care about them and they are capable, and encourage them to do their best. I think that this is the way of treating this type of students who are always present in our classes. What is your opinion about this?
Thank you, Patricia, for fruitful discussions about on topics. In this stage, I would like to Tariq Lala, please unmute your microphone. Tariq Lala, she is from Morocco. Tariq Lala, first of all,
Yes.
introduce yourself.
Hello again.
And I have a questions. First of all, introduce yourselves, and then I have a questions. How can you identify an underachieving gifted student?
Okay. Maybe you will not hear me well from my computer. I'm going to use my mobile phone too. Okay. I'm very heard from here now.
I repeat
We
it.
can listen to we can listen to you very well, Laila. Yes.
Okay. Yes, I keep. Well, thank you, Patricia. Very nice and very rich introduction and analysis to the learning teaching process, and what the learners, how they get. So sometimes we couldn't understand the learner very well. If they get the message or the information we are giving him or her. You tell me, I'm going to introduce myself first. You say, I'm an educator, English teacher since 2004, teaching middle and secondary school. I'm also a Microsoft Innovative Educator expert, which means I use the Microsoft skills, integrating technology with my students, using many of them. Using the Microsoft tools, other soft tools, gamification, and all things. This is what I usually, when I go through with the educative webinars, I usually would like to concentrate on the idea or focus or spot the light on using technologies with our students. Which means now we have to put our we as we say, we have to be in the learner's shoes, which means we are now belonging to another time, so it's not our time now. Of course, maybe we learned just from TV, from books a lot, but now they are learning from internet, from social media, from things that are, they get the information easily just from the photo, of the image, from the visual, and also, which keeps me all the time giving the quotes or the ideas of Gardner when he talks about the different learning and different learning styles and intelligences, which means those who are visual, okay, we have to keep pay attention that there are learners who are just visual. They just see the image, okay, or the video, and they learn. They do not need a lot of talking from the teacher. And also, on the other hand, there are learners who are linguistic. They are verbal, which means they need for the teacher to speak, to interact with them, to communicate with them. And they also communicate, engage them in dialogues, so as they learn. And also there are learners who are logical, kind of, they have to analyze things in their minds, kind of critical learners, critical thinkers, which means they have to analyze, why is this, why is that, and so. Okay, of course, there are other, if this is just examples, also the bodily kinesthetic learners, which means they have to touch things, okay? They have to learn by doing, kind of here we can give the example of projects-based learning. Give them a project, a task to do, then they can learn, for example, at home, and they bring very amazing projects about the lesson, which means the teacher must be mixing all these theories at the same time in one lesson, and that's why I value group work. We can put students in kind of group, all one, okay, by, of course, knowing our learners, our students, we put them in a group. We know who is visual, who is kinesthetic, kind of, who is verbal, and so on. This is my idea of teaching in general, and this is how I do. And of course, we used, as I stated at the beginning, we use technology to facilitate the lesson. Like gaming, making learning fun as well. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Tarek, for your insightful and informative and digital-based discussions. Thanks to again. In this stage, I would like to Sailesh Shirista, sir. Please unmute your phone.
Yes.
Okay, first of all, introduce yourself.
I think we can. Myself, Shailesh Shirsat. I'm enjoying my work as a teacher and also as a teacher trainer in Jalgaon, Maharashtra, in Dharangaon block. I think nowadays there is problem. There are two kinds of student we have. One who has the access of internet, and in the villages, most of the student, means parent, doesn't have access of technology. So I can see the difference. My own child, they are living in a city area where I can provide them the internet, laptops, mobile phones, and everything.
Okay.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yes. So I want to say that we know it is not for the developed countries. It is the issue of underdeveloped countries like India, Bangladesh. And one more thing which I would like to tell you, that nicely explained by ma'am, that we have to take records of each and every student about their family background, what they are doing. I like that because we are not doing that, most of the teachers, because it is something like the homeopathy doctor is asking you all the details of the patient, how he behaves and all these things. I think now a teacher should ask and have the records of each and every individual. That is the very nice things I learned from Honorable Ma'am. And we have to give attention that. Also, that even some parents is having the access of internet, they are using it for their interest, their own interest, rather than providing that to the student. I mean, they are watching the videos of dance program, singing program, but not using that internet facility for their own child. I think the biggest role is the parenting. No, parents' roles, because student is far away from schools and teachers, because there are training for teachers. We are teaching students, but there is not any kind of training program for parents. I think we should conduct some of the programs for parents, because parenting is an important skill. And in the situation in pandemic, parents doesn't know more about education. It doesn't, okay, that's okay. But parents have to give attention to their own child because they are away from school now. And even because you doesn't need any educational qualification for becoming parent. Okay, when there is no such kind of any exam that you can become parent automatically after the marriage here in India. But in this situation, what I'm doing, I'm going to tell you some of, I'm going to meet the parents one by one. I know that I can't meet and call a meeting where we can gather more than 15 or 20 parents with the teachers. So individually, I need to visit each and every parent. I need to talk with them, what they have to do, what they need to do. So I'm going to visit every individual parent about parenting, telling them about parenting. I repeat that there is no any exam for becoming parent. If a biological, if both the partners is okay, then they can have a child, because that is not just a matter. Parenting is a very important role in the pandemic, and we need to focus on that, over that. I'm very looking forward that the reopening of schools, because there are thousands of ideas. But mean the time I'm going to meet each and every individual rather than just meeting to the child. We need to meet the mother, father, and other members. Even if a joint or a nuclear family, we need to discuss and talk. I think that is very important. The parenting is now very important.
Thank you, sir. Just I have a questions, another questions. What cause underachievement?
Sorry.
What cause underachievement? What causes underachievement?
causes.
Yes.
Can I ask him a question before that question, Mrs. Mamatas?
Yes.
Mr. What is the reason, okay, after parenting, okay, and having, okay, discussion with the parents?
At last have joined Bushanis from Pakistan.
Yeah.
Taek, your voice is so low.
No,
Your voice
it's
is
not
so
the
low.
task of a teacher.
You're expecting the answer from me?
Yeah, because you talked about
Yeah.
direction parents. Because as I know,
okay,
it's the task of the administration. They can just give you simply that report about every student, maybe his illnesses, his habits at home, in order maybe some kind of reports. But of course, the parents can get in touch from time to time with the teacher in order to follow and ask about his if he is progressing in his learning, because it's too much. We can't also know the students and also the parents. The parents is also another if you agree with me, I'm asking all the educators here, kind of report of this each student, it's enough, I think.
Yeah, the
Every
child
parent
cycle
is from another background, which means a little bit difficult as a teacher. One mindset and a lot of mindsets, which means a little bit challenging.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Shailesh sir, carry on.
Yes. Definitely. I mean, child psychology, we must know. We are having some of the parents that doesn't have any idea about what their child like. I mean, what is their favorite fruit, what is their favorite dish, and their friends and all these things. They are expecting that by just the children is not attending the classes, how can they read the simple sentences, words, or the basic about any languages and all these things. Yeah, they can do at home, but we need to give a quality time we need to spend a quality time with the children, because if we are just not giving that much of attention, not playing with them, we need to be now shortly a teacher. Parents need to become teacher. Okay, not just teaching all the things, the math, science. No, we need to just talk with them, storytelling and all these things. I think that we need it. We need to dance with them sometime, as we do when in the schools they ask to dance, and we need to dance, sing, play with them. That's the thing we can do.
Thank you, Shailesh and Taek Laila. In this stage, I would like to Sagarika. Please unmute your phone.
Yes.
First of all, introduce yourself, and I have the questions. What is sign of the underachiever in the classroom? What is sign?
Okay. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Namaste to all. This is Dr. Sagrika Roy Bhatia from India. I've been an educator for last 24 plus years, from a teacher to a leader. And I'm happy to be sharing this particular platform with a lot of educators here. Hello, Bushra, good to see you. Patricia, yes, we are known. We've shared a couple of webinars together. And thank you very much, Mumtaz, for having me on this particular platform. That's a little about me. If you need to know more about me, you can just Google my name, Dr. Sagrika Roy Bhatia. You will get all the details. So without wasting much time, getting into the topic, that is, how do you identify the underachievers? Well, I totally agree with what Patricia has to say and what Leila has spoken and what Mr. Shailesh has spoken. Yes, that's very, very relevant, whatever you all have identified. Again, According to me, nobody is an underachiever. Absolutely no one is an underachiever. If you see Howard Gardner's theory of intelligence, Howard Gardner's theory of intelligence speaks about 11 to 12 intelligences that every child is blessed with. All 5 fingers are not the same, and all the children who come out of a single mother's womb are also not the same. But that doesn't mean that we name somebody an underachiever. It is our fault as an educator that we haven't really identified what is the child's best way of learning and what does the child want to learn. We've got visual learners, we've got auditory learners, we've got various kinds of learners. So everyone is not meant to be that way, you know. So it is very important that in a classroom, first of all, as Sailesh rightly said, that we need to identify our learners. There are questionnaires. There are questionnaires where we identify the learners, and if we know that this particular learner has been repeatedly not performing, or maybe say repeatedly underperforming, it is time that we go into the child's birth record also. Maybe the child was born in the 8th month. And if the child is born in the 8th month, if it's an early birth, if it's a difficult birth, so we need to first of all identify that. That will give us a lot of information about the background of the child. Secondly, if we are calling a child an underachiever, we need to check the environment of the child in which the child is growing. Very important. Maybe the child is growing in an abusive environment. For all you know, we don't know, you know, what the child is going through because the child can't speak. So it is important to really understand what is the environment of the child. And then you also thirdly also need to know the learning needs of the child. That is, what is the learning needs? How does the child want to learn? Maybe the child is not a chalk and talk child. As Patricia said, as Leila said, maybe the child wants to, is a kinesthetic child who would want to learn by doing. So if we identify these needs, and if we have a class wherein you have differential learning, differential learning is basically you treat every child differently and you cater to their learning needs. So if a lesson is, say, suppose you are taking one particular lesson, that is your growth of a plant, for example. Growth of a plant, you can show it through video. You can do a little bit of chalk and talk. You can do a little bit of question answers, and you can take the child outside the class and say, plant a seed and let's watch this particular bean seed grow. So that is learning by doing. So you have catered to every aspect of the learner. And in spite of this, if the child is not really doing very well, then yes, then we will have to go into the psychology report of the child. And from the psychology report, there are other things also. There is dermatoglyphics. There are a lot of things. We can go into the neuroscience, get into the neuroscience aspect, that what is troubling the child, what is happening. So no child, according to me, is an underperformer. It is we as teachers, and as rightly said by Mr. Sailesh, it is we as parents who are failing if we have to call a child an underperformer. So that is my take on it. And identifying is, as Patricia rightly said, that how do we identify the children is that they are unable to meet a particular limit that we are a grading point, that particular child is unable to reach that particular grading point, and hence we say that the child is underperformer. But let me tell you, if the child is unable to reach the grading point, that is homework for us as educators. It's totally homework for us as educators to introspect that where are we going wrong in our teaching that the child is not reaching there. It's the child is not at fault at all, absolutely not at fault, until and unless psychologically we know that the child is retarded. If the child is mentally disabled, yes, then it is a different talk on the whole, But if it's a normal child, and if in a school, I mean, if the child is not autistic, so then I think then we as educators and we as parents, we need to look into why is the child underperforming. So that's my take. Thank you,
Sagarika, for your wise and deeper discussions about on this topic. In this stage, I would like to Bushra Anis Nagvi. Bushra, please unmute your microphone. Okay.
Okay, Roxana, how are you?
Introduce yourself, and just first of all, introduce yourself. And then I will
Okay.
raise the questions.
So I'm a Bushra, I'm a global citizen now, and great to see my global friend, Dr. Sagrika, Ruxana, Patricia, and now Leila again. Salam, Leila. How are you? Happy Ramadan to you as well. And you know, this is such an amazing world, and we all are differently abled, but we are able to see each other together. So initially, the whole notion fits to us first. And yes, Ruxana, do you have a particular question you want me to address, or I need to talk in terms of Pakistani perspective?
Okay, Bushra, in this instance, I have a question. How do you stop being an underachiever? And first, my first question, and then second question, how do you motivate lower achievement students?
Okay, so how do we motivate is the second question, and first question is?
First question, how do you stop beginning an underachiever?
How do I stop beginning
an underachiever? Yes.
I didn't get the question. Can someone rephrase it?
How do you stop being an underachiever?
Ruxana, I didn't get the first one.
Can you?
How do
Sorry,
I?
can I?
Yeah,
How do you stop
begin
an underachiever? Underachiever. Stop. You stop. How do you stop begin an underachiever?
I can't rephrase what she means. How can you revert this situation? How can you help the students avoid being that?
Again, Dr. Sagrika has, gave us a very clear notion on it, that, what's underperforming means, and what is our perception, and what is the role of us as teachers and parents as well. And again, I would refer to that triangle. That is student at the top, parents at the left-hand side, because for us as Muslim, right-hand side has a very great importance. So we put teachers on the right-hand side. So this is the whole responsibility in this triangle: student at the top, right-hand side teacher, and left-hand side the parents. So underperformance for us means basically we have set some perceptions, we have set some targets here, and we test a child on those yardsticks. This is the great, what I would say, the dilemma here. We do not treat a child in terms of its, performing habits, or in terms of its actual physique. Maybe, as Sagrika said, maybe he was born a little earlier, maybe he was a premature child. So we do not know about the history. And as humans, what we do what is urgent, we don't do what is important. And knowing a child's whole history is very, very important. And that makes us whole work very easy. So as far as Ruxana's question is there, how do we deal with that? I think I have shared in my previous session as well, that there are many ways to deal with such things. But particularly, what do I do, and what Dr. Sagrika has just phrased it with different words. But I say, I do not make a one dish. I request my teachers to make a buffet dinner for the students, because not all the students, they are going to learn with the same. Not everyone would, flavor just one dish. Maybe I like dal gosht, maybe I like the paratha, maybe I like the kebab or samosas, but someone doesn't. So I need to prepare that dish that suits my blood pressure, that suits my, other diseases as well. So in the same very way, different performing, differently abled students, they are needing different behaviors from teachers and parents' sides. And those behaviors plus different strategies, they will make him a good performer. If not 100%, at least they will drive him on that road as well. And the second question was, Ruxana?
How do you motivate lower achievement students?
How do we motivate? My motivation is this, in our country's context, rather I would say in Asian context, we, for example, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, we give very high importance to have English language learning in our schools. And we, stress and force the child to learn English by hook or crook, because we were governed with the British Raj for so long period. and that perception is still there that the more you are fluent or frequent in English, that means you are a learned person. So this notion is no more there. First of all, we tell these students, you are good at that. An Englishman cannot recite the alphabets of Urdu language, but you can do, you can, you can sing that poem A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So we motivate them whatever they have. We motivate their capacities. So when they raise or gain confidence, they are able to perform anything. And again, I know everyone is differently abled, be it their cognition or be it their practices. So we need to, develop a coordination between their cognition and their physical practices. And that comes once they develop their confidence. And that confidence comes when we as parents and teachers, we are there available for our students all the time. And all the time doesn't mean 100% available with them, purring them, or just, lulling them for everything they want. Just, let them do their thing. Wherever they go wrong, just pop in that or at that very moment. And, that gives them so much of confidence. Oh, you were doing great. So just do it in this way. That would be better. So they develop their leadership qualities as well. They develop their critical thinking as well. And, I have seen so many students growing when they do it at their own, and we just pop in the point where they go wrong. And we just tell them, do it in this very way. So they gain so much of confidence, and they never ask, ma'am, is it right or wrong? So just keep on doing. And, once the thing is completed, be it's the conversation class, be it's the dictation class, be it's the model making class. So once the model is designed, then they bring it to us. Is it fine? And even if it is not fine, I never say it's not fine. I say it's wonderful. However, you can do this thing like that. So, that's the main thing of motivation that we generally do. And I believe in making the buffet dinner instead of one dish. That is the main, I am blessed that I can talk. I'm blessed that I can listen. I'm blessed. But how blessed I would be if I can talk better. How blessed I will be if I can listen better. How blessed I would be if I can perform better. So I need to find those ways where I can, listen, see, and perform better. And the same thing I apply to my students as well. We all can smile. So this is the only thing that we do in the same very language. So give me a smile. So I always ask my students to give me a smile. When they smile, honestly, 50% is work done there and then. So because they say there is a connection that is developed. So keep developing the connection with your students. That gives them the boost. And, just motivate them even if they are doing wrong. That develops their, confidence at the same time as well. So this is how, Roxana, we do. And you were asking that I'm so sorry I joined a little late. I was in another session, and that is our schools. They are, having the International School Award submission. So around 60 teachers, they were after me. Please, Pushpa, tell us how to make it better. I said, you have already done better. So just pluck it here and pull it there. That's it. Thank you so much, Roxana. Any questions?
Thank you for your in details discussions. Priyanka, are you there? Hello, Priyanka. Hello, Priyanka. Unmute your phone. Unmute your microphone. Okay.
Yes, unmuted.
Just summarize feedback, Bushra's discussion, and have the questions. How can a student improve their performance?
This question for me?
Yes.
Okay. So actually, I don't think a student can improve their performance. This is the role of only the teacher who can help them to score high or better their performance. It is the role of teacher only. And one more thing, for example, in India, especially in India, what I see that parents or teachers just what they watch. How can we say that one student is better performance than the other? How can we judge? Marks?
Marks.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. So actually, for if the journey starts at the age of 5 or 6 here, and student is judged on the basis of score in the exams itself, even though they don't have any practical knowledge. Even here, being some engineers, they have been some students have become engineers, they have BTech degree, still they don't know the basics. So I don't think that these are successful students. Maybe they have scored so much. So the main thing is that we have to make them first we have to make them a good human being, then they are successful. Second thing, we have to make them eligible to do something for society and to for themselves. How can we judge that they are doing for themselves? That is the basic thing, that is the livelihood. If they are the degree doesn't matter, the work matters. If you are able to do some work, NEP has introduced these very good concepts that if someone is just standard 8th pass or just 10th pass, he or she is eligible to do some work. Sagrika ma'am, what do you say about this?
I totally agree with you. Yes, I totally agree with you. That is skill development. If you find that a child is not really inclined towards classroom teaching and learning, not a problem. You can develop some skill so that the child can have a livelihood, can have a good livelihood in future. Could be maybe a carpenter, could be a car repair, could be AC repair, could be electrician, could be plumber, anything. You know, there's never a dearth of skills that are required. So when you identify that a child, in spite of all the efforts that you have been doing, if you feel that the child lacks his or her interest in formal education, I would talk about formal education. Get him into informal education, wherein once you develop a skill, for a girl, it could be maybe a beauty parlor, maybe mehndi, maybe hairdo, maybe, you know, stitching, sewing. So many things could be done, you know, quilting. There are so many skills that you can actually develop. Education is not a must. Nowhere is it written.
And English is not necessary. Sorry to disturb.
Yes, absolutely.
English is not necessary.
Yeah, that's what even Bushra said the same thing. Bushra had the same say that English is really necessary. So it's okay. I mean, that's what the NEP also says. I totally agree that if you have a child who's really not interested, you can develop other things. You can make, see, ultimately education should give you means to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if education gives you means to survive, it could be anything. It could be anything. It may not be just formal education, you know. So that is the thing. So yeah, I totally agree with you. Yes, Priyanka, I do.
Bushra ma'am wants to say something.
Hello. I'm Shamsuddin. I'm Shamsuddin. Hello.
Today, Shamsuddin sir wasn't going to speak, Shamsuddin sir. I knew you couldn't resist speaking here.
Okay, no, because you know, in last
I was
week
thinking
I was.
How he's silent still.
In the last week, I was really very ill. Still now my body is not recovered. So I was thinking I was just listening you, but very intellectual discourse is going on. I want to just add one point. Why, Mamutaz, you select this topic? That's good. But one thing is that no children is to be taken as a undermined. It depends on our environment. It depends on our parental society, our culture. Every individual has their own potentiality. Unfortunately, we fail to discover their potentiality and to give them proper environment to come out with their ideas, those will suited them for to survive. And unfortunately, whenever we are just making discrimination, then the children, those who were deprived, they became frustrated. So we have to think newly. Already Sagarika ma'am and other told about it at the last question, and this is very important. We have to take care every children with their thinking and abilities. You know, every children, they have their own potentiality in their own way of learning. Maybe someone is not very good in some effects. Maybe Patricia also mentioned that someone like drama, someone like music, someone like play. But in especially in world like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Nepal, we are just making one syllabus. This is not a rigid. This is very, very hard because teacher is always pushing to come out with the result depending on that syllabus. But there is no alternative way how to treat one children in other ways. Maybe from Pakistan, she also told that if we can make individual program or blended learning for the children, then it might be workable for them. So we have to make our parents that if a children can be a good tailor, then he can do a very good thing. Even you know, right now, the people who are working in several articles, for example, you can go in a kitchen room or a good chef, then you become really a wonderful one. Even if you can sing a song very nicely, then you will be good one. Even I can give one example from Pakistan. Malaya Lama, exactly, she did very wonderful work. In her early life, she was shooted, but later on, she became too much strong and she lead the world in a way that our teachers and children became aware how to treat with the children. Really, this is very scholarly discourse and I'm enjoying. But now our time to make everyone, every teacher and the planner to design our curriculum in such a way that no children will be deprived from his own learning. Thank you very much. I'm sorry that I had to interfere. Please, you all please keep me in your prayer.
No,
Allah
sir,
Hafiz.
it's okay. It's
Okay,
okay.
thank you for your words.
Thank you, sir. In this instance, here we can say Mukhlisur Rahman, sir. Mukhlisur Rahman, sir, are you there?
Yes, yes.
If
Yeah.
you can say something about our topics, please.
Sorry, I attended that letter, so I am not clear about. I will say my concern next.
Okay, sir. Okay. In this instance, I would like to Nasir, sir.
Yes, yes.
Just
Hello.
summarize our program.
Yes, thank you, Roxana madam. Today's nice round table discussion. I learn many more from today's speaker. Patricia Arbona, Bushra Anis madam, Dr. Sagarika Bhatia, and Silas. They talk about today's topic under achieving students, nicely describe and explaining. I learn many more about under achieving students. I want to say that under achievement is education is a common problem. You have probably noticed yourself that it's not always easy to get students motivated to learn, and that some students are not living up to expectations. So how we can you as a teacher solve this rather common problem? This post is all about understanding underachievement, identifying underachieving students, and helping those students reach their full potential again. You will find a lot of tips against underachievements and insights that will help you out. I want to say that our classroom teacher would take some initiatives or technique to teach the students, those who are slow learner. In other words, you expect a student to accomplish good work in your classroom, as the student has all the capabilities. In reality, that students can't live up to its own competencies and fail to deliver high quality work. Underachievement is defined as a discrepancy between a child's school performance and some index of his or her actual ability, such as intelligence, achievement, and creativity score or observation data. I would like to say our student, our solo learner, they have to special care. Our teacher take some initiative to teach our underachieving students. I learn more from our today's speakers. They talk today's topic is very elaborately. I and our community will be beneficial for their discussion. I especially thanked to Shamsuddin Ahmed Talukdar. I feel he's not fit in physically. Then he attend this meeting and say something about today's topic. I thanked Mr. Mitch Mumtaz Rukhsana Akhtar, those who arranged such a kind of meeting. In invitation letter, they mentioned the 7th episode of the weekly discussion round table session by We Bangladesh chapter. I thank to We Bangladesh, not We India chapter, Priyanka N. Srivastav. She discussed in the very beginning what is the aims, mission, and vision of We India or We Bangladesh. Today's speaker, Dr. Sagurika Bhatia and Bushra Anij, Laila from Morocco, I mean, and Patricia Arbona, they are also discussed elaborately. I am very happy to hear from them. Thank you, Mumtaz Rukhsana. Thank you all participants. all speaker, those who attend home and abroad. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nasir sir. Now we will listen shortly our little Champulen. Hello,
Get
Pulen.
disconnected again.
So since everyone is joining, Dr. Sagrika, were you there with the Vikas session as well?
Which
Did you
Vikas
join Vikas Pota's session?
No.
No, I don't know. Or we have met with Ruxana's session earlier as well.
Yeah. I met you in Ruxana's session early.
Okay, but you know,
Yeah.
I have met वो हम Asians की एक जैसी शक्ल होती है ना.
Right. नहीं मैं आपको इन्हीं के सेशन में मिली थी.
I thought कि Vikas Pota
मैंने
के session
आपको
में आपसे.
और मैंने आपका नंबर लिया है. I will WhatsApp you. मैं आपको WhatsApp करूंगी.
जरूर बहुत अच्छा लगेगा. And you know, such things, we have some global educators as well. Very sorry, Patricia. We understand each other's language and we start doing in that. So just for your convenience, we are again switching to Angrezi, English. But, you know, we really feel good when we talk in our own language. So actually, you're muted. Patricia, you're muted.
Now, sometimes it is better to use our mother tongue when we have to tell something that it cannot be expressed using a foreign language. So it happens. So your native tongue is welcome, although we cannot understand anything. But it is my case. But anyway,
yeah.
Go ahead. You need to.
I think. Yes, Ruxana, your participants, they are there.
Hello, Patricia. Just you end up saying something about our whole topics.
Well, to sum up what we have been saying, because we are about to finish,
yes.
What are the strategies that we can use? I completely agree with you all, because you were talking about how this situation can be reverted. I think that the main action that can be taken is to follow the process of the students. And today we have methodologies which are active, and they place the student in the center of the process of education. And it is our responsibility to become facilitators and accompany them in the process of learning. So in this way, we can detect any problem they may be having. We are not paying attention to the results. We are paying attention to their progress, how they are doing during the process of learning. So in this case, underachievement will disappear immediately, because once something is detected, we start acting immediately. I think that there are strategies that can be summarized into the 5 C's. It's easier to remember this. First of all, the C of cooperation. Students need to know that learning is a social act, and we need to act together. When they work together, they feel more comfortable, because they share strategies, they share styles of learning, and they learn together. So for those students who may be having problems in learning, this does not mean that they won't be able to learn. They take more time, and that's the only problem that they may be having. So when they feel together, they feel more comfortable, because they support one another. So cooperative work should be encouraged. Then when they are together, they take challenges. So our responsibility is to encourage them to step out of the comfort zone and start taking risks, because in this way, we are encouraging them to get a growth mindset. So we need to insist that they can. We need to empower them all the time. Then the C of communication. We need to be good communicators. We need to be good observers, as I said before, but they also need to be good communicators. But when we are good listeners, they feel more comfortable and they may start speaking about the problem that they may be having. When they start talking about them, they feel more relieved. So this is better for them because they can start learning more comfortably. And then finally, the C of caring. They need to know that we pay attention to them constantly, that we are caring about them, and we are responsible for creating this special atmosphere which is positive and which is inviting them to participate. And it is important to create rapport. This rapport may be present between teacher and students and between students and their peers, because when we create a pleasant atmosphere, teaching and learning, both of them take place more satisfactorily. And when we have this type of climate, when we encourage our students to love what they are learning, and I think that underachievement vanishes completely. And we give a big thanks to the type of methodologies we are implementing at the moment, in which the importance is the learners, how he feels, how he can learn better, how he can achieve successfully.
Thank you, Patricia. At the end of the sessions, I have joined, we can say, Dr. Margaret Ballester. She's from Philippines. Please unmute your microphone, Margaret.
Everyone, hola for Argentina.
Hello.
Hi, good to see you again.
Yes, nice to meet you.
Yeah, the topic today is really very interesting. And I agree with what Patricia has said. Here in the Philippines, I think our teachers are doing a lot of things to really support our underachievers. I mean, those who are really struggling. And one of the things that they have been doing is actually peer tutoring. And also one way to really encourage our students who are underachieving is to expose them to more dialogues and interactions, not only with their teachers, but also with their peers. And based on my teaching experience way back, maybe like 10 years ago, or maybe 15 years ago even, at least for the grade schoolers, what I usually do is to, number one, is to really take time to get to sit down with them. That was then when there was face-to-face. Sit down individually, because in class, I only had like 15 to 20 students then, all girls. So I have to sit down with them. If there are two of them who would like to see me, I sit down. These are sixth graders, and would ask, the question would always be, how are you doing in math? Or maybe in English. And when they tell me what's happening, well, the usual answer would be, oh, I'm not really that good. Oh, I don't really have time to really focus because at home it's like this. And so the teacher has to understand as well the different contexts where the students are coming from, and that's important. Second, once that is identified how they are, where they are really weak at, and secondly, the teacher would suggest to these kids, personally, I suggested to these girls to really take time to get to sit down with those who are really doing well and without reservations, meaning they don't feel like that shyness, because anyway, they're all classmates and they're friends. So I usually did matching, meaning I have to learn get to know their friends who are really very good, and try to talk as well, both for the underachiever and those who are really achieving so well and doing well, so that they get to help. In that way, we also develop camaraderie within the learning context. And second, they get to understand each other's needs. those who are not really faring well may have not only the academic challenges, because the ability, the intellectual capacity may be that really low compared to those who are really doing well. When you get to match them, this is based on my experience, they did not only become good friends until they finished the grade school, but even to this day that they are now professionals, they get to acknowledge each other's help. So third would be, aside from getting to know the contest, setting this, matching this low achieving and those high achieving. The next one is for the teachers to really give challengers, meaning when I say challengers, these are lessons that would also help those who are achieving so well to really get to look at all of these materials, and they get to share it with those underachievers and try to contextualize it in a way that they get to understand better. Because the teacher may be speaking in a general presentation without, sometimes, let's face it, this is happening, just our way or our desire to deliver it very simultaneously and smoothly in class, and once that's done, boom, it's over for the teacher. But actually, it is still a struggle for those who are not really doing well in class. That is why at this time of the pandemic, this time has given us teachers to think of better ways in which we can reach out to the students who are really struggling. Not only, of course, students, but even teachers. And when we talk of teachers, it could be our teachers who are like riding on with technology and still struggling on how to make use properly of technology in order to get to learn and get to reach out to our learners. So here in the Philippines, there is so much struggle in a way by which we can address the issues of this underachievers, and of course, not only students, but also our teachers. Because when we talk of teachers who are not really achieving that well, these are the ones who are not really faring well with technology. Let's face it, this is a problem all over the world. We have senior citizens who are still in the service and trying to teach, and they are the ones who are really having a hard time these days trying to cope with technology-aided learning environment, so to speak. That's why here we count on modules. We make use of modules that are delivered to the residences of learners or to the areas where the learners are, be it in the mountainside or by the Bay Area or within this 7,600 plus islands in the Philippines. So all of these things are like causing us to not only headache, but also, of course, reaching out to other countries on in what other ways we really can help not only the learners, but also our teachers. And thank you, Ma'am Tas, for this learning session for this evening from my end and morning from Patricia's end. All these learnings are actually not only the true, but are really, really happening on the ground. So thank you, Patricia, and to the rest of those who are here tonight.
Thank you, Margaret. Surely and undoubtedly true that we have unleashed your deeper discussions and insightful discussions. Thanks to all. Now we need to finish. Sometimes, and some things need to be said before concluding. I'm very grateful for your long time with me to help me make the program success. I have learned a lot from your long and valuable discussions, and I have tried to enrich myself. I hope the audience will also benefit from today's program and will use it successful in our work life. I will try to strengthen our education system by capturing the content of our discussions, and your discussions play an helpful role in quality of education. I wish everyone well and world epidemic COVID-19 has taken it different from, so we will all the careful from our place. Thanks again to being with me. Hope to see you next program and next week on different topic with a new guest and beside with. I'm ending here by thanking everyone. Thank you. And
Mumtaz
goodbye.
ma'am, Mumtaz ma'am, Priyanka ma'am, thank you very much. And I just realized one thing, that I'm listening the single teacher, but there are 1,000 teachers. Oh my God, what kind of ideas and knowledge we have. Dr. Sagarika ma'am, I think, and Bushra ma'am, Laila ma'am, I think you individual, Buffet, and I think we should have a special session of Sagarika ma'am, especially. We have also a special session of Bushra ma'am and others. Oh my goodness, how can I tell my hundreds of teachers that I have got such a knowledge thanks to Mumtaz and Priyanka, but there are hundreds of teachers doesn't know about this quality. I think I would like to share this with them. Thank you very much, Sagarika ma'am. Great. I mean, I think you should talk at least.
You can join me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and I also have my YouTube channel on parenting. I do a lot of work with parents on parenting. Dr. Sagarika Roy Bhatia is my channel on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. I would like to share it. And I would like to give 1,000 times thanks to Mumtaz and Priyanka for just for the fragrance of, this is a fragrance, nothing, no? This is a great fragrance. So thanks once again.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, everybody, and goodbye. Bangladesh here is prayer time. And
more thanks to you.
And thanks for the buffet dinner from Bushra.
Yes. Very well. As Bushra says, buffet, so this is a buffet.
Yeah. Buffet. This is a buffet. Yeah. Thanks for the buffet.
So nice to meet all of you all, and season's greetings to everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Happy
Bye-bye.
Ramadan. Happy Ramadan. Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Hope to see you soon and next program. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Eagerly waiting.
Okay. Stay tuned and connected. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.